We don't stop to think that we're putting those people in jail on the order of 7 to 8 times higher than we'll find among the white community for non-violent drug offenses.
Another unintended consequence of drug prohibition is corruption within the ranks of law enforcement.
We want our police officers to be pure and respectable, and I think most of them are. But prohibition dangles some pretty large carrots in front of them, and naturally there will be some who are suckers for the bait.
Every major instance of police corruption in the last several decades throughout the world are traceable to drugs. The exception would, in fact, prove the rule.
In the 1960s, New York City's police department was notoriously corrupt. Consensual crimes such as prostitution, drugs, and numbers rackets provided plenty of opportunity for cops to get in on the action. For refusing to be corrupted, Detective Frank Serpico found himself facing the blue wall of silence. Some of his fellow officers may have wished him dead, but he has kept his dignity and sense of justice. Hollywood's version of his life starred Al Pacino. It was based on a novel called Serpico, the classic story of the cop who couldn't be bought.
Every time they questioned me, they tried to prove that what I was saying was untrue, rather than take the attitude that allow me to assist them in an investigation. I hope that police officers in the future will not experience the same frustration and anxiety that I was subjected to for the past 5 years at the hands of my superiors because of my attempt to report corruption.
People say my name is known all over the world.
For Detective Serpico.
And for what? What did I do? I did my job the way it was meant to be done. I'm Frank Serpico. I'm a former New York City police detective. I was shot in the line of duty. I was left on the ground to bleed to death. My so-called partners did not call for a backup. You know, I had guys say to me, you know, Frank, the day you testified before the Knapp Commission was a dark day for every policeman in New York City. And he says, I was afraid to go home and face my wife and children. I said, really? Why? What did you do wrong? He said, nothing. I said, why didn't you come and support me? And he said, what, and be an outcast like you? The sad thing is, there's a fraternity, and guys join the fraternity and forget the oath that they took was not to the police department, but the people that they serve. And when you see a cop, you should feel protected. You shouldn't feel threatened. I think prohibition is causing the public to lose their respect because they're enforcing laws that basically aren't hurting anybody. I think we have to stop the hypocrisy. If you're a CEO on Park Avenue, you can dial a phone and the next thing some guy will be in front of you in a three-piece suit and an attaché case, and he'll open it up and you have your drug of choice. But the guy in the street who wants to take the edge off, you don't have to go there and get the little guy. If you want to make an arrest, go after the guys that are making the profit. And they might be surprised where that road takes them. I think part of the drug war is the prison industry. They run it like real estate. You know, they have so many rooms and they have to rent them out. And they rent them out and the police fill them.
In the States, they have more people in jail than any other country in the world.
We're asked to take our moral compass from people who dealt with Noriega, who had the Contra scandal where they were trading drugs for guns. I mean, you know, come on. It's more part of their foreign policy than it is part of law enforcement.
My whole adult life, I've always wanted to be in law enforcement because I'm trying to follow my father's footsteps. Finally, in 1979, I was hired as one of the very few Latinos in DEA. It was in Vietnam where I first saw a lot of my fellow soldiers lay low from shooting up heroin and dying on an overdose of heroin and so forth. And I promised myself that if I did survive that war, that I would initiate my own drug war by becoming a federal drug agent, which I did. I was doing a lot of undercover operations of drug trafficking from South to Central America to the U.S. We were on jungle operations and search and destroy missions on the cocaine labs, and I came across the Colombian drug traffickers playing soccer with the military, and I couldn't understand why they were sworn enemies, why they were together. And that's when I realized that we were still supporting cocaine democracies, and those are democracies the United States government allowed them to slave with the cartels in the name of democracy. Iran-Contra was the sales of missiles to Iran. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North sold missiles to Iran, which was a very illegal act, and turned around and used those funds allegedly to help the Contras in Nicaragua, which was the opposing party to the Sandinistas, and of course the U.S. government was supporting the Contras. My role, I had people working for me at the Ilopango Airport in El Salvador. Oliver North worked at Ilopango Airport. That's when my camera went into full speed. I started taking pictures of everything. I had gathered intelligence that the Contras were heavily involved in drug trafficking. We transported the drugs from Central and South America to the U.S., and in return flights, they brought weapons for the Contras. I gathered intelligence on it, reported to Washington, and basically most of my reports went into what was known as the black hole. And of course, at the end of the day, we realized that the Contras were heavily involved in drug trafficking with the CIA, and certainly very much involved in atrocities of killing of a lot of innocent people in Nicaragua. They took my dream away. I strongly believed that I put my life on the line, that I would make a difference. And obviously that was not what it was all about, and I realized that we were the bad guys. America is more addicted to drug money than they are to drugs.
It's all about the money. We want the war to go on and on and on because it's to someone's benefit.
The United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime estimates that the retail global illicit drug market is valued at $322 billion. That's higher than the gross domestic product of 88% of the countries in the world. Intelligence, intelligence, intelligence. It is all about that. If we are really to have the kind of impact that we're here to deliver to the world's greatest evil organizations.
It's not a war, it's a business. Let's imagine if we took out all of the drugs in the world, okay? Just imagine that. Police, courts, social services, healthcare. It just goes on and on. It touches every segment of our society. All lawyers, judges. I mean, what would we do with all of these people? Gee, we might actually get community policing. we might actually start taking a look at how we deal with healthcare problems.
Any drug is essentially readily available to young people. If by regulating the drug, we could control its distribution, control its costs, control its quality, shift resources from enforcement of drug possession, or drug sales for that matter, to the prevention, the enlightenment, the education of our citizenry, and a treatment to those who need the treatment. That's just a much smarter way to go.
People generally think that if drugs were legalized, that there would be drugs everywhere. Of course, there already is drugs everywhere.
My son got stopped. They found a roach in the ashtray. He was arrested. It's come home to me. The drug war has now hit me. My son just graduated from a pharmacy technician. If he's convicted, he could never work as a pharmacist or as a technician. Never been in trouble before, ever. And in 1 month, his life has been destroyed. I mean, is this what the war on drugs is all about?
And that's Global Currents. To find out more about this broadcast and to share your thoughts and see what others are saying, visit globaltv.com, search word Global Currents. Join us again next time for another unique Canadian documentary. I'm Kevin Newman. Thanks for watching.